Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode about the movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and I'm joined by this week by a very special guest, as it is someone who has never done this show before and will be making their first time appearance on the show. I am joined this week by Mr. Max Grant.
Hello, very nice to come on and speak on a podcast of such high regard.
Well, you are joining me this week to talk about Mortal Kombat.
Yes, I've been
Um,
a fan of the franchise for a while.
mm,
Played many of the games. Watched all of the well, not the animated films, but I've seen all the live action ones.
yeah. I mean, before we get into this sort of properly, I mean, do you want to just sort of, because I mean this respectfully. You've got, you like your sort of highbrow, like you like, sort of very, um, yeah, sort of higher brow type films in some cases, but you also have a bit of a penchant for just very crap action film. Like you're a big fan of like,
I know what you're gonna say.
I
Are you
mean, yeah,
gonna?
you enjoy you can indulge in some what some people would consider lesser cinema. You can indulge in some
Well, I hope you're not
not
talking about one of the great films of all time, The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
that will
because because you'd be incorrect.
yeah, this is one of like about this guy right here. One of about like 5 people in the world who likes the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
But no, it's true
Not
that I
one.
like a lot of those films held in high regard. Your more arty sort of films, but there will be an action film that comes along every now and again that it piques my interest. I enjoy
Mm,
it. I'm able to kick back and relax. Creed
yeah.
2, for example, is one of my favorite films of all time. It would probably be in my top 10.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I was gonna ask why you wanted to do Mortal Kombat, but I mean, as you sort of explained just before, that you're a fan of the games,
Yeah.
and you are a fan of uh, the film. Well,
Mm.
one of the films at least.
One of the films majorly, and then I do think that there is another one that I did enjoy.
Mm,
Um, but no, the game's really hooked me in. Honestly, you'll find bigger Mortal Kombat fans than me. I only really started playing them when Mortal Kombat 11 came out. Uh, when did that come out? That probably came out in uh, ooh, 2019. So yeah, and then from then I started playing that, and then after that I sort of worked my way backwards, played a lot of the older games, and then worked my way up from there.
mm,
Um, and then I really got into the lore of it and all that kind of stuff, and you know, and then the films as well. Even though, and we'll talk about it, they're not the greatest films of all time. Um,
mm.
I still am able to take things that I enjoy from pretty much all of them.
Yeah, the thing with I'm not like massively into fighting games. Like I enjoy them, I like them, but I don't enjoy all of them because at a certain point that I don't know if there's as much like, not to say there isn't like a vague degree of skill, but it's sort of like you do just feel like it kind of just devolves to just mashing a bunch of buttons and
Yeah, I
it'll
can understand
probably
that. Yeah.
work out.
Um, Injustice. I tried playing Injustice, and I enjoyed it, but I could never really get into it the same way I loved Mortal Kombat.
Mm,
Um, but Mortal Kombat, it sounds so like, I guess, I don't know what the word is, but like sort of juvenile in the way I'm gonna say it. The the violence in Mortal Kombat makes it so much more appealing than all the other fighting games. Like Invincible Versus just came out. I haven't actually played it yet, but I've watched a lot of videos and stuff on it.
Mm,
And instantly I'm not as interested because, you know, I compare it to things like Mortal Kombat and I think to myself,
mm,
like, I could play Invincible Versus or Injustice or, you know, films of that games of that caliber.
mm.
But why would I want to spend time with them when I can go back to Mortal Kombat and have like a hell of a time playing them?
But yeah, to get into the film sort of properly, I mean, it's video games historically have been incredibly difficult to adapt
Yep, 100%.
and to make good, and there still aren't many good ones.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
there was the trailer that just came out for Resident Evil, came out like
Yes.
literally a couple of days ago.
Mm.
I have decent expectations for that. I have high hopes that it will be good because Zach Craig is doing it, and I know that he
Yeah.
said it's not like sticking to the games, but I also am just sort of like the stories in the Resident Evil games are kind of they're not good, and they probably don't really translate like to
Mm.
films because the video games aren't really about the story for me. It's just like about the gameplay rather than anything else for me
Yeah.
personally. And
Well, it's funny you bring up Resident Evil because uh, Paul W.S. Anderson, who did the first Mortal Kombat, has has put so much effort into the film franchise of uh, that part of the franchise. I haven't seen any of them, but I haven't heard great things about them either.
I would say Paul W.S. Anderson is like a solid contender for my least favorite director.
There,
Actually, Michael Bay. I know, but Michael Bay's at least got a couple like decent films. Like I don't like any Paul W.S. Anderson films. Like Michael Bay, like the first Transformers, I actually think is good. I like The Rock, uh, the 1996 film.
mm,
Pain and Gain is one of the most insane films I've ever seen, and I kind of love it for that. I'm not
yeah,
a
I don't know. The Transformer stuff goes up and down for me.
I'm not a big fan of Gaspar Noé,
Haven't seen it.
who
Honestly, no idea about
did
it.
Irreversible.
Oh,
He
ha-
did
oh yes, 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 yes.
which Irreversible, one of the worst films I've like ever seen in my life.
I haven't seen many. I don't think I've seen any of his, to be honest.
They're not good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say Paul W. S. Anderson is my least favorite director. Also,
Right.
it said at the end. I noticed it said at the end of Mortal Kombat. It said Paul Anderson
Yes.
instead of Paul W.S. Anderson, and I'm like, if that happened, like, because this was before Paul Thomas Anderson was like a
I
thing.
was just about to ask, was he before Paul Thomas Anderson?
Because yeah, I believe Paul Thomas Anderson's first film was 1996, so the year after the first Mortal Kombat. Um, I mean, I definitely know Boogie Nights was after this, and like Boogie Nights onwards is definitely after Mortal Kombat. So I was like, is he like and I was like, it's weird because if this was made a few years later, I think, is he trying to trick people into thinking this is a Paul Thomas Anderson film?
That
Um
is what I was just thinking when you were talking about it. I was like, were they around at the same time?
they
And,
did
you know,
they did get their start in the same. I think W.S. Anderson must have started, if not in the 90s, it would have been the very late. No, so his first film was Shopping, which came out in 1994. So that was 2 years before Paul Thomas Anderson's first film.
I've just checked. I've seen of Paul W.S. Anderson. It occurred to me maybe all I've seen is Mortal Kombat. But into what we were discussing before, Paul W.S. Anderson has made one of the great films in Alien versus Predator.
I mean, that is a terrible, terrible film, but I would say Aliens versus Predator, well, AVPR Aliens versus Predator Requiem is even worse.
Requiem's terrible. Requiem's probably one of the worst films I've ever seen. But the first AVP,
It's
like
not
an
good
8 out
though.
of 10.
Excuse me?
Out of 10.
Did No. You're not being
It's so,
serious, are you?
I'm being so serious. It is really, really enjoyable.
I might just have to walk out on this one.
You,
I
you
will
knew what you were in for when you got me on this podcast.
look. I could deal with you liking TASM 2 unreasonably. Like I could deal with that, but I will say it is better than AVP 2.
Yeah, Requiem is genuinely one of the worst films I've ever seen.
But it's still not a good film. But yeah, Paul W.S. Anderson, Mortal Kombat. I would say this is very much the highlight of his career.
Right.
Um, and I mean, when I give my rating, you'll see that I think very little of his career. Um, but I feel like for a long time, this was considered one of, if not the best video game movies. Um, like
Yeah,
the first Mortal
I
Kombat
haven't
when it
seen
came.
a ton of those older sort of game adaptations. The only thing I could really compare it to, I believe it came in 1993, was the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yeah, which I'm like gonna be completely honest and say I didn't completely hate that film. Like it's not a good film, but it's not like that. I would say the recent Mario Galaxy film is worse.
Yeah. I
Um,
think it's.
I'm
No,
just looking at a list of video game movies that had been made. Um, wow, this was I'm just so this was very early on. Like I'm just got a Wikipedia list. And then not like Super Mario Brothers was like the first one that was made.
right.
Then they did Double Dragon, then Street Fighter, and then Mortal Kombat. So this was really not that.
It wasn't super late in the game.
Not really, no. But yeah, I mean, film adaptations of video games are like mostly bad still.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like I can't Like, I haven't seen the Five Nights at Freddy's films, but I can believe they're terrible.
You're missing out.
Well,
You
I
you
did.
know, there, there's something.
Minecraft, I thought was appallingly terrible.
I didn't think it was
Uh,
as bad as everyone else. I think I actually mentioned it. No, I mentioned it in a different Mortal Kombat review. Um,
the Sonic films, I think those are pretty decent for what they are.
yeah, they're pretty good. Yeah,
Uh, Uncharted was not good.
yeah, I would agree.
I didn't see Borderlands, but everyone told me it was terrible. So
One of the worst films I've ever seen.
Iron Lung, which came out fairly recently, which I haven't seen, but everybody kept going on about how great it was. But I mean, just this year alone, we've got Mortal Kombat 2, Resident Evil, and Street Fighter all to come out alongside,
Yeah.
Iron Lung and Super Mario, and Return to Silent Hill and Super Mario Galaxy.
Yes.
It was one of the very first, and I mean, it's not a particularly great film, but it's also like not completely shit.
Yeah, I
Um,
had my. I used to rate this film higher.
I saw when I fucking
Yes.
logged this, I saw your rating. I was like, Jesus Christ.
It has fallen from my graces. A
Mm,
little bit.
mm,
Um, maybe it's just, and we'll get into that later. Uh,
mm.
maybe it's just because I think there is a better Mortal Kombat film. I think it really gets bogged down with um some of its I think it's in every video game adaptation that there's going to be some cheesiness. But
I mean,
yeah, I
video
can't
games
help
are
but
very silly, yeah.
yeah, I can't help but cringe a little. In every Mortal Kombat film when they pull out lines like flawless victory.
Uh,
Uh,
that that was. There's one in the recent 2021 version where I think
yeah,
it's Kung Lao who says it, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, that.
After he kills Natara, yeah,
And I was
he
like, it's just like because
it,
it only works for the fan. Like the
yeah,
fans are gonna like it's the fucking jingling the keys moments, you know?
yeah, it is. It really
And
is.
it's just like it doesn't, yeah, like the get over here and like that works because that's just like what, Scorpion, like
Yeah.
there's times where that does work and it doesn't bother me, but I'm surprised. I am wondering if we're gonna get a Toasty in the new Mortal
Hey,
Kombat film.
that would be interesting.
If they
Yeah,
can,
no,
it's gonna feel so contrived if they do get it though. Like that's the
yeah.
thing.
One thing that really irritated me, and I don't know if I didn't mention it in my review, is that Scorpion speaks too much in this film, and I don't know if
Mm.
that's like a ridiculous thing to like be annoyed at. Um, but like I don't have a problem with the game lines, get over here and all that kind of stuff. But like he then just starts ripping like little one-liners that are adjacent to like get over here. There's a scene where I believe they're in the Netherworld when Johnny's like climbing on all this raft, like all these rafters and stuff. And every few seconds, like you just hear Scorpion rip a line like "Get down here," and it's like just saying those sort of things over and over again. And you get so tired of it so fast. And in my mind, I'm like, Scorpion should be someone who builds fear off being silent. Like he is just engrossed in like the kill of it all. But no, it was something I genuinely had an issue with on this watch.
Mm. I
Um,
think, yeah, I think one of the problems with this film is that it is not like an R-rated film.
yes, I was just about to get into that. I'm glad you've mentioned it.
Like it's well PG-13 or I think M-rated is what that would be here. It it just sort of like one of the parts about Mortal Kombat that people love is the fatalities.
Yeah, it's a franchise renowned for its kills. So then when you reduce it from that sort of mature, like it invented the mature rating, in video games
Mm,
because, I'm not sure like what the official board is or whatever. When they came across Mortal Kombat, they were like, this is too violent for everyone, and it made mature. So then when you have fight scenes, and I discussed this in my review, of like kind of similar to the Power Rangers like TV shows and stuff, like you come off a little disappointed. You're expecting more, and it's something that's kind of surface level. And even even with the stuff that's like you know extracting the souls and stuff like that, it's
mm,
so hyper stylized that it's kind of
mm,
reduces the impact. There's
mm.
there's some other poor sections of the film, like I think the CGI is definitely not where it was meant to be.
It
Um,
was, yeah,
for a film of that time,
yeah,
you see
no,
it the most in Reptile. In my
mm,
opinion. Uh,
it's incredibly. I mean, it will. I mean, the sequel is even worse for this, but
we'll get into
like,
that. We'll get into that.
but yeah, the CGI is like. But the thing I found with the CGI is that it almost felt a bit almost charming
Yeah,
of like because this was again this wasn't that late into this is like a couple years after Jurassic Park.
yeah.
Wasn't
I
too
think did it come out
far.
the same year as Lost World?
No, Lost
Maybe
World
I'm wrong.
was 1997, so Annihilation
Right.
came out. then.
Yeah. hmm
Um,
Which just
but
makes it worse for Annihilation, but we're gonna talk about that.
it, yeah, but it's definitely dated in that sense, but it doesn't particularly bother me, honestly, because it's just sort of
Yeah,
more like, oh, it's just kind of quaint that it's, looks a bit ropey and obviously
yeah,
not
100%.
people.
One of my favorite parts of this film is, and I've seen behind the scenes stuff, of like it's Goro.
Mm.
The guy with, I don't know if you know who Goro is, like the
I
four-armed.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with the games and with the
Okay, cool. I
characters
just didn't.
generally, yeah.
Yeah. Because they combine so much like animatronic technology and it's puppetry as well, and they put a lot of effort to it. I've heard it compared to um when they were doing the stuff for Jaws.
Mm.
Like how it kept failing, and then they had to like just keep inventing and creating in order to get something to work. And then, it does have CGI elements to it too, but I think it looks so good when it comes
I
to
Yeah.
adapting that character.
Yeah, I will say the Goro stuff actually looks pretty because it's first of all it's tangible, like you can tell that it's real,
In terms of other stuff I liked about Mortal Kombat, I think it's really funny. I think it's some of it's
like
like cringe
intentionally
comedy.
so, or
I think yes, I think there's some elements where I'm like that was a funny thing. It specifically revolves around uh, Lyndon Ashby's Johnny Cage.
mm,
Um, there's a lot of physical comedy for him that I just found it funny. I don't know, like when he steps off the boat with all those suitcases. I chuckled. Like I was like, this is really good, especially when you like understand Johnny Cage as a character
mm,
and how like vain he sort of is.
mm.
Um, I just thought, wow, that's really fun. And then how he gives the suitcase to uh, Kung Lao and he just drops it in the water. I can't help but laugh at that. But if other people don't find this film as funny as I did, I also don't take issue with it.
I think that on the whole, the cast they all work for like what this film is.
Yeah,
They're not necessarily required to do like anything particularly crazy. But they do a good job of what they've been given, and I think they do sort of embody the characters. I mean,
I only
it
really take issue with one of them,
which one?
mm, which is I don't actually know the actor's name. Give me one moment. Christopher Lambert's Raiden. I think sucks.
Yeah, I
I
I
really didn't like
I
that.
thought the performance was weird because it's like that's not Raiden.
Yeah,
Like,
he like Raiden is meant to be this sort of like I don't know, like mature, like he's a thunder god.
yeah,
Um,
and he's
and you get none of that from Christopher Lambert.
yeah, it seems like he's trying to make him almost a bit comedic, and I'm like, I don't think that's like what Raiden in my mind is or is
Yeah,
supposed to be.
but no, other than him, I take no issue with anyone else.
Yeah.
I actually
The
really enjoy Lyndon Ashby as Johnny
Johnny Cage.
Cage.
I thought the guy played Shang Tsung. Is that's the bad guy, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Is just kind of the perfect scene chewing hammy villain who just like there's like a scene right near the front where he points like directly at the camera and he's like, I will have your soul.
yeah, and they do like the crash zoom.
They just yeah,
Pretty easy.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, I really like that as
It's
well.
really good because you just don't get villains that are like just evil anymore. Like they
And
always have to have like some tragic backstory, or they have to
yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah
Like Shang Tsung is just like evil for evil's sake. Like
yeah
he is like, and especially in this film, he's like comically evil. And I am glad they're sticking with that. It's honestly one of my biggest worries going into these sort of these this modern interpretation of the films, because I fear that maybe they're gonna try and humanize some of these villains um
Mm,
to some capacity, because it's just sort of the trend of this era.
mm,
Um, and I hope I'm wrong, because
mm.
most of these villains should not be humanized.
Um, and also there's a bit where I believe it's Johnny Cage and he does the dick punch to Goro because
Yes,
you gotta.
what a great reference that is. And then you also get the bicycle kick, I'm pretty sure, in this film.
mm,
Um, but no, I think they're great, sort of small references, and they match their characters. Like, it
yeah,
makes
I'm
sense.
that see that I'm not against as like references
Yeah,
because it's just like well it's just like it's a move in a fight so that's okay.
yeah,
It's just saying the lines of dialogue from the game where I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? This is just
yeah,
because it
100%.
just doesn't translate for 90% of the audience. And there are
Yeah,
people who are like, oh well, and when people like people get like upset when critics criticize films that are made for like the game for gamers, and then
yeah,
critics are like, oh, I didn't like it, and it's like, and I'm like, well, they're not gonna lie and say, oh yeah, I liked this, even though it's not for me. Like, then that's not what reviews are for.
100%.
Um,
Yeah,
so I think it's just weird. But yeah, in terms of like fighting and stuff, I'm okay with references there. If they do like the moves from the games, that's fine because that's just a move they might pull out in a fight sequence. So it's
yeah.
like I'm okay with that. I
And
mean,
what
I'd
out of
give it a
you're out of 7? Yeah,
5 out of 10.
right.
Um, it's yeah, like it's very watchable. I don't really feel like I ever need to watch it again.
Yeah,
Like I've seen it, I'm okay with having seen it.
mm,
But I also I didn't have a problem with like watching it. Like I was really like, yeah, not against watching it by like any stretch of the
yeah.
imagination.
This was my second watch. I used to have it an 8 out of 10, which in hindsight, will look high.
Jesus.
Um, but now I've dropped it down to probably like a 6. Um,
Hmm.
it's just too maybe my like because I watch so many modern films, like that's a part of it. But yeah, it just dropped quite a bit for me. I took issue with a lot more things, especially
Mm,
when it comes to the reduction in fighting. I
mm,
really didn't enjoy that as a factor.
mm. And then we move on to the sequel,
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat
Kombat
Annihilation.
Annihilation, which I watched earlier this morning for the
Yeah, I did not get to
purposes
rewatch this.
of this.
I did a
Um,
refresher, but like just watching YouTube videos to sort of remind myself of everything. I will contribute to this as best that I can. Um,
um,
I just remember
I
it sucked.
mean, I will straight up say this is one of the worst films I've ever had to watch for this podcast.
Ooh,
And I
that's
I
big.
don't I don't say that lightly because I've had to
Hmm.
watch some shit for this. Hated this film. It is appalling. It is so unbelievably terrible and
So are you at like a 1 out of 10 for this film?
well, I'll put my rating on this after we've
Yeah,
because
that's
I
fine.
just
Yeah.
um I mean I don't know. So maybe I am just insane and I just missed something. But they recasted Raiden for this, didn't they?
Did they? Uh, yeah, they've
Because
got
it does.
James Remar in this one. Uh,
Yeah, because I was
that is a
like
recast. Yeah.
Raiden, and I was like, that isn't the same guy.
I don't
Um,
really remember the different. Well, I haven't seen Annihilation in a very long time. Would
It's
you say it's better or worse than what the
the
other guy did? What's his
actor.
name? Yeah. Would you say this performance of
He
Raiden is better?
feels even less like Raiden.
Wow.
Um, I really don't understand what happened here. And this is like one of the few times Paul W.S. Anderson hasn't made the worst film in a franchise he's been involved in.
Yeah.
Um, which is impressive because he's very good at making bad films.
Yeah.
Um, I legitimately do not. I don't understand what happened,
Mm.
like at all. I genuinely don't know what happened because it's just gone. It just went like it's just on every level. It's just terrible. Like it's king the CGI. Like the CGI looks like how there's like animatics done.
Yeah.
It looks like that. There's this massive like kaiju fight near the end
Yeah, I remember
where
that.
it's
It's the thing that sticks with me most about this film is that ending fight where they do the animalities, or
yeah,
at least, and like,
it's
uh,
really bad.
yeah,
Really
I
bad.
remember who is it? Is it Shao Kahn becomes like a Hydra, and
Yeah, there's like
then
a Hydra and then
Liu Kang's like this dragon thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Which, by the way, I'll give them props for doing animalities because I don't see a way you can do an animality in like a Mortal Kombat film that isn't fucking nuts. Um, what I want to give them props for is how terrible it is.
yeah,
Like,
no, it was yeah, it's unbelievably terrible.
yeah.
And I just don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
Well, this
Cause
is John. I think this was the first film in John Leonetti's like director. Like it was. I think it was his directorial debut because he
mm,
did the cinematography on the first Mortal Kombat film.
mm,
Um,
that seems to happen
I
a lot where someone involved in the previous film who isn't like a writer or is like a cinematographer ends up doing like directing like the sequel, like that happens I
yeah.
feel like a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Leonetti's only done three directorial. Yes, he's only done three like direct
So
directing
directed three
jobs.
films.
He did Annabelle, and he also did a film called The Silence, which I've seen both of them. Um, but other than that, he did a lot of cinematography work. He was the cinematographer on The Mask, on two of the Insidious films, Child's Play, The Conjuring, Piranha 3D, I should say, which I watched probably a few months ago, and it is one of my least favorite films of all time. The Scorpion King and Soul Surfer. So I've seen all of those films that he was a cinematographer on.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, look, when I read out that list just now, not a lot jumps out as being fantastic.
Mm, no,
Um, and even those directing jobs, like, not much to talk about there.
no.
But to have
Uh,
Mortal Kombat Annihilation in there, you know, in the same vein
mm,
as something as like Annabelle, which is part of a hugely successful horror franchise. What a contrast.
mm. Yeah. I mean, I really cannot. It's just there's so many pointless fucking like backflips and front flips throughout. Like to get between locations, a character does a front flip or a backflip to get to a new new set. There's a moment now. Maybe I'm just misremembering the games, but
Hmm.
Jax, he has the
Yes.
robot arms, and my understanding is they were like fused onto his body. Like those are his
Um,
arms.
my understanding is that they are prosthetics.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, like they've
hold on.
replaced his like human arms. Like he lost his human arms, and then he got these
Yes,
big
yes,
robot
that was
arms.
always
Yeah,
my understanding too. Maybe
yeah.
I'm an idiot, but does
Well,
he do? What's he do?
in this film, there's a bit where he's fighting some guy, and a guy like rips them off, and then underneath are like his regular human arm. So there's like he's got these like robot like essentially full length like sleeves on, and they get like ripped off,
Mm,
and then
I don't know. I don't know how to comment on
it
that.
yeah they look extremely fake. Like they don't look they look completely fake
Yeah,
and um it's
yeah. I mean, he loses his arms in different ways in in all sorts of different Mortal Kombat media. I'm not
mm,
super under, like I haven't read any of the comics. I just know the comics are a thing. But in one of the comics, I'm pretty sure Baraka cuts them off. And then I know that in the 2021 film, he gets them frozen and shattered. Um, in terms of like the earliest lore, though, I don't really know.
mm,
Um, I assume in one of the earliest Mortal Kombat games, he loses them to in some kind of way in the story. But no, yeah, they're definitely not on his body. So in this film, they're just like hidden under metal.
it-
I don't like.
yeah.
How does he just rip the
Well,
when
no,
you say
he's
rip them off?
fighting. So he's fighting. It's like near the end of the film. He's fighting like one of the bad guys, and the bad guy like rips them off his arms.
Okay, yeah, another great example of how this film, you know, keeps up with the lore, I guess. I mean, they also recast Johnny Cage in this film. Like, it's Chris Conrad in this one. But no, that wasn't my point. This film to me is just kind of they needed something to follow up the first Mortal Kombat, and they did that, and they knew it was going to be shitty. So what they did is they just incorporated as many characters as possible.
Mm,
Because I mean, you've got Ermac in this film, uh, Cyrax. You've even
mm,
got one of my favorite characters, Baraka. Um,
mm.
but I don't think he's ever actually specifically named. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, Motaro, Rain, like there's so many. Even Shiva, I'm pretty sure is in this film. But no, so it's kind of just a cameo fest of like Mortal Kombat characters.
Yeah, like the first film feels very like they keep it to sort of a core group of characters. Like you've got Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya,
Mm,
Raiden. Like those are your heroes, and you've got Kano, Goro, and Shang
Shang Tsung,
Tsung. Yeah.
yeah,
Which also, I just remembered we didn't talk about the theme song,
but yeah, it's
the
one of the great theme songs. The
iconic, one of the most
Yeah,
iconic theme songs, certainly of the 90s. Like, it's an unbelievably iconic, beloved theme. Uh,
yeah. Technodrome I think it's Technodrome, isn't it? I think that's what it's officially called. Is great. Every time you hear it, it gets you pumped up.
mm, so much so that the recent one did a remix essentially at the end during the end
They
credits.
did. Yeah.
Um, I mean, I really just don't like this film. It's really, really bad. It's I just like there's no value to watching the film. Like
Yeah.
there
I,
is
I
no
wish I'd rewatched it so I could talk to you more like in detail about it. But just going off memory, I just remember it. I don't love to rate films super low and like all that kind of stuff, but I do remember watching this and being like, this is a bad movie. which I usually don't do. Like usually I'm always looking for like the good stuff in films, but
Mm.
there wasn't a lot of good in this one. I remember that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, do you want to put a rating? Like, I assume you have a rating.
I do have a rating. This only reflects the first time that I've watched it, so it would probably change um in the future. I gave it a 3,
Yeah, it is a 1 out of 10.
and I don't have any issue with that
It's
rating.
yeah, I just yeah, it's terrible. It is just yeah, one of yeah, the worst films I've ever seen.
Outside of the podcast, do you think it is your least favorite film?
No, no, I've definitely seen worse films than this. But it's
Okay,
in terms of what I've had to talk about on this show, it's definitely one of the worst ones I've had to watch.
okay.
But then there was sort of a bit of a hiatus on Mortal. They didn't do any Mortal Kombat films after Annihilation. They sort of
No, and fair enough.
left. Yeah, no, they sort of just left it alone until 2021,
Hmm.
and they did well, yeah, the 2021 film.
Yeah. Um.
Uh, and I mean, this was 2021. This was part of the period where Warner Brothers was releasing films on HBO Max and in cinemas simultaneously, because this the COVID pandemic and everything. Yes, I mean I didn't see this. I must have seen this. I think I would have seen it online actually. I think I did have Letterboxd when I first watched it, so I would have a log for it.
I remember watching it when it must have come onto some streaming service. I was still in high school. And I remember because I didn't get to see it in theaters for some reason, even though I really wanted to. Maybe it was because it was rated R and I wasn't old enough. When did this come out in 2021?
2020. Let me see what I can find on the release date. So I'm just looking here. I watched it June 6th, 2021. So release
Yeah, I
info.
came out in April. Oh, this is in the States, but
Yeah,
April
April
21st.
2021. April 21st here is when it came
Yeah.
out.
But yeah, I remember I wasn't old enough to go see it by myself, and just because the people around me would have had no interest, I had to wait till it came out, which was kind of torture to me as someone who was enjoying playing Mortal Kombat. And then I remember as soon as it came out onto a streaming service, I got to watch it, and I really liked it. I loved, I loved it actually.
Hmm.
Um, I think that this film is such a love letter to the games, especially to someone who at the time was just really sort of getting into it all, and then that came out. It came out alongside it. I just love this film. I don't know really what your opinion on it is, and it's going to be interesting to talk about. I think it has some of the issues of those 1990s films still,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, I think that this is a film that I will continue to revisit.
I mean, I think it's definitely the best Mortal Kombat film and one of the better video game adaptations.
Hmm.
It's I don't.
I do hate. Well, I don't hate. I shouldn't say hate. I don't like that they did the surrogate character. Through I think his name is. I know his first name's Cole. Is it Cole Young? Um, pretty sure it is.
Maybe, yeah. I
Um,
I thought it was an odd choice to have like an original character for this when there's so many characters in the games to take
yeah,
from.
I really didn't enjoy how they made Cole Young. I wasn't one of the people who were like, this character's the most stupid character. Like, why did they include him? I was just very confused as to why we needed him in the first place when you could have done what I believe they're planning to do with the sequel that's coming out, which
Hmm.
is, make a character not, involved in Mortal Kombat yet and be joining, and you can still use them as a surrogate character to the audience, but, make them learn the world of Mortal Kombat alongside the audience. The Arcana stuff annoys me a little. I do get it though. Uh, but yeah, because it feels like it's just included in order to create some emotional resonance. For instance, with Cole, he's getting beat by Goro, and then obviously his Arcana kicks in, and he gets like the kinetic suit and the Tonfa and all that kind of stuff. Um, but no, like I didn't really enjoy that either. And then like the films before it, man, is it cheesy. Uh, we talked
It
about it
is,
briefly before,
yeah,
but when they do, I think it's after they fight Sizoff again, well, for the first time in this, but again in the franchise. Um, Kano goes, Kano wins, and all that kind of stuff. Which is so out of place. And then they do the like flawless victory, like we talked about before.
yeah,
And it takes you out of the film entirely. Like if
yeah.
if you know
And
what it is.
there's the I how do you feel about the moment where they do the leg sweep?
Oh, I actually
Like,
find that really funny. I understand if
yeah,
you have
I
a problem
see.
with it.
Because all that really is like it's a game reference, obviously, but it's more of just like a joke than anything. Like you can take it as a
Yeah,
joke. You don't need to have played the games or anything. It's just like a silly joke.
yeah,
Um, so I can go with like again. That's just the kind of thing where it's like it still works. Like if you don't play the games, or know
yeah.
the games really.
But no, as a player who's been leg swept that many times, uh, when playing online, and you just you're
I
getting
mean, it's the
leg swept
cheese
over and
move, you
over.
know.
Exactly, yeah. I find it so funny that Kano's just getting like dropped over and over again.
Yeah. Um.
But yeah, that's one of the games, one of the film's good references to the games.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
there's
one I
this like
can excuse
this like
and go with.
intense dialogue of just like flawless victory, so and so wins, and like all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. I'm like, man, this like even if you weren't a fan of the games, you'd be like, that was uncomfortably delivered because it's so forced.
I mean, what do you make of the? I think the cast work, decently
Yeah,
well for.
I don't have any problems really with the cast. I think Lewis Tan as Cole Young works, even though I'm not a huge fan of the idea of Cole Young. I think it's fine. This is also a reflection of who I am. I think he does a better job in this than he does in the final season of Cobra Kai, which I'm a huge fan of. But not the point. No, I think he's really great. The other people that stand out for me are Josh Lawson as Kano. I love Kano in this film. I find him so funny and so enjoyable. Um, and other than that, Hiroyuki Sanada, um, is probably one of like he doesn't come a lot in the films that I watch, but every time I see him, I've never had a bad experience watching the film that he's in. Other than that, can I think of anyone that really stood out? I think Ludi Lin is pretty good as Liu Kang. Yeah, I think everyone meets the bar. I hope that for the job that he does, Micard Brooks is pretty enjoyable as Jax.
Mhm.
I hope that he gets given a bit more of a role in this upcoming one because Jax is one of my favorite characters, so maybe I'm biased in that, but
Mhm.
he fulfills his role in this film, especially when he has to come to terms with, you know, losing his arms. But I really hope that they explore his character more. Saying that, I probably just signed his death warrant. He'll
Mhm.
probably die in this next one. Um, but yeah, I hope to see more of him because I think he is a good actor for the character.
I think they're all decent for what they are. I think the guy is Sub-Zero. I think he works pretty solidly well as in that role. Josh Lawson as Kano, I really liked. Actually, I thought he was really solid.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, there wasn't anyone that I was like particularly impressed or blown away by.
yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
I forgot how little Scorpion is actually in this film.
Mm.
He's really not in the film that much, which I
No,
would,
he's in the cold open and at the end, and that's about it.
yeah, which I
Other than
found,
the flashes you see of him. But yeah, go
yeah,
continue with
he
what
was
you were saying.
really not in it that much, and um, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I just didn't need the film to be about this like OC character that I didn't really care about.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I think maybe my favorite bit in the whole film is again. I think it's near the end. It's in the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight where Scorpion like cuts him and gets like some blood out and then freezes the blood and uses that as like a weapon. I
yeah,
thought that was
what
like
a great idea for whoever was like
legitimately
coming up
really
with that.
fucking cool.
Yeah,
And better than anything in the fucking 90s films, you know.
yeah. Honestly, I think the closest thing they do, and it's not even close really, is just having Sub-Zero freeze Sonya's gun, and then he snaps it, which I think is kind of cool, but it's nowhere near like freezing your enemy's blood and then stabbing them with it.
Hmm. I think
And
like
there's another really cool thing in that fight. Sorry to nerd out, but um, when Scorpion like fire, it mirrors the opening of the film. Scorpion fires his I'm forgetting the word for it, like his little uh what is the word? Um, like his little hook. It's not hook, but you know what I'm saying? His little spear like thing.
oh Cabal and his like
No,
yeah, what
it's
are they called?
Scorpion's like little spike thing. What do you call it?
Oh. Uh
Scorpion. I'm literally googling. Scorpion's spike weapon. Yeah, it's like the kunai that's Is it rope and dart? It is rope and dart. Oh my
mm,
gosh, that was embarrassing. Um. Anyway, he shoots the rope and dart next to Sub-Zero's head, and then he pulls it back, and in the opening he cuts Sub-Zero's face because Sub-Zero's cocky and he thinks, oh well, you missed, and then he
mm,
pulls it and then it cuts his face. But then in the end, um, Sub-Zero anticipates the attack, and I just think what an interesting thing. Even though it's not a huge detail, and maybe you won't even think about it when you're watching, but I'm like, what a good detail to include because it shows that he's a much more experienced fighter and is not just basing his current fights on who he used to be. Like he's gained experience and isn't going based on his cockiness, and it has established himself as like this insanely skilled fighter.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry for ranting, but like, and taking so long to get there. But no, I think so much of the fight choreography is so interesting in this film, and they finally made it gory. What a great job for
Mm.
making it R-rated, um, and letting them go all out. They kill so many people in this film. and as they should. Do I think most of them are coming back? Yes. I think even the heroes will be coming back who we see die in this one, but we'll see.
It feels like, yeah, the characters they killed are kind of like sort of characters that are sort of introduced for the purpose of being killed. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any characters that
Yeah.
like
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know. It doesn't feel
who
like any of
really
the
dies? Like, I'm trying to think. Natara dies. I'm trying to think. Kano dies. Oh, we had who? Kung Lao dies. There's quite a few deaths. I do think they mostly going to be coming back as revenants, uh, which are like pretty much just zombie people of fighters who have died.
Mm,
Um, I think we're going to see a lot of them back, which
yeah. Well, that's in Mortal Kombat. I know there's a bit in Mortal Kombat X
yeah,
where there's a yeah, there's like a bunch of like returning fighters who've been corrupted by like
yeah.
yeah, this bad
So I
guy.
wouldn't I wouldn't count out most of the people we see die in this film.
Well, I
I think
believe
we're
I've
going to see
looked
a
at the
decent.
cast, and I believe Kano at least is coming
I
back.
knew I knew Kano was coming back.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think it's annoying when franchises do feel the need to bring people and they can't really stick with the decision. And they feel like, oh well, let's bring this person back. This is probably one of the few franchises that I can accept it, just because Revenants have been established in like lore and things like that. Things.
The story does leave a bit to be desired, but it's like it is a video game movie, so it's just sort of like if you go to these kinds of films for the story, it's not really like yeah, that's not really sort of why you should go to this movie, which isn't like necessarily an excuse, but it's more just sort of like I think it like in terms of the story it does have it like works just about just for like what it is.
Mm,
Um, whereas there are other video games films where there isn't really a story. There's just sort of a series of events occurring where just yeah, random yeah, just sort of random. It's just sort of a series of
Random things happening.
scenes.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like I mean,
Um,
the recent Mario Galaxy, I'd say, is that.
yes, I would agree. I think something I remember frustrated me my first watch. It doesn't frustrate me anymore, maybe because I'm anticipating it. Um, is that they never get to the tournament in this film? Like it's an entire
Yeah,
it's
well,
a film that is going off the basis that it is going to get a franchise made after it.
yeah, and
Um,
it's about saving the tournament. Like that's part of the.
yeah.
But they don't
Um,
really do a whole lot with the tournament, which I think is. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do with this sequel, but I mean, are they? Are they gonna deal with the tournament in this sequel or?
I really hope so, because if they don't do the tournament in this sequel, I'll probably walk out really frustrated. I
Yeah.
Because I think some of the film has to be collecting new fighters.
Mm,
Because obviously they're going to get Carl Urban's Johnny Cage, who I've seen in all the marketing.
yeah.
Um,
Well, there's that bit towards the end of the film where there's the Johnny Cage
yeah,
poster.
they ended on the Johnny Cage poster. Um, but yeah, so because they need to get recruits for the people that they lost. Mm. But I hope from there that they then delve into the tournament itself. Because if you then spend this whole film collecting more people,
Mm,
you've lost me. Because you've had two films of build up for a tournament that people are like it's one of the most bloody tournaments in the universe and all that kind of stuff, and then you're not going to show it. I'll be pretty annoyed. But initially I was very annoyed at it, but I think this film creates a good amount of structure Yeah, not really. I think it has so much potential to make probably a trilogy of films. I
Well,
don't know
they
if the
have
third one
got a
have
third
they
film
made
in development.
fantastic. Okay.
They've said they're already working on the third one, so
That's great. I didn't actually know about that.
and I can see the
But
second one doing pretty decent numbers.
yeah, I don't see that. I mean, this first film I think didn't actually perform all that well. Um,
No, but this was, during the height
yeah,
of
so maybe in terms of like COVID and all that kind of stuff, it did perform well, but
yeah, I mean it's
um,
like how James Gunn's Suicide Squad um was well received, but it didn't make a whole lot of money
yeah.
box at the box office because, um but I mean, yeah, do you want to sort of any sort of final things you want to say on this but on this one or
Did you have a rating?
yeah,
Like full
I'd
ratings?
give it a 6 out of 10. So it's only 1 point above the original first film, but I
Yeah,
I think there's yeah, it's not like the most amazing film or anything, but I didn't have a bad time watching it, and I think there is some fun to be had with it if you just sort of go with it, and let yourself be taken in by it, and
yeah,
just sort of yeah, ignore the talking bits and just wait for the action sequences. Really,
yeah. Um, I do have this as an 8 out of 10. Uh, if I could, and that's just, letterbox standard because you have like the 4 out of 5. If I were to
yeah.
give it my own sort of score, I'd probably lower it to probably like a 7.5 or something like that. But with how much I enjoy so much of it, I can only round up. Like, I don't want to round down or anything because I feel like if I were to round down, I'd be being disingenuous with how much I enjoy it every time I watch it. I think this was my probably my second or third watch overall. Um, I have such a rewatching habit, and I'll probably
Mm,
continue to rewatch this one.
yeah, and we are talking about this because of there is this a sequel coming out,
Yes, Mortal Kombat 2.
which will be out
I
this week when this episode goes out.
Yeah, I am extremely excited. They're bringing Baraka into it. I am a huge Baraka fan. He is probably tied for my favorite character. Jax is also in that sort of heat. Um, Baraka is so cool, man, and it's gonna really suck if they kill them both off in this film. Um,
Mm,
the trailer, I was a little skeptical about the trailer when I first saw it, but it's grown on me. I thought the visual effects weren't brilliant when I first saw it.
mm,
But it's worn me down over time, but um, I don't see any reason why I shouldn't love it. The There is one alarm bell that's ringing in my head though, which
okay.
is when I looked at the crew list, I looked at the writer. Do you know who Jeremy Slater is? He's also said to be writing the third one, apparently.
The name is familiar.
Would you like to know the things that Jeremy Slater has written?
Sure.
Jeremy Slater is responsible for Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, the Netflix Death Note, and the 2015 Fantastic Four, as well
Hmm.
as films like The Lazarus Effect, which I haven't seen, and Pet, which I haven't seen. Um,
Hmm.
that is huge alarm bells for me. Uh, I know that maybe Mortal Kombat isn't a film that needs to have perfect writing because it's so much more focused on its action sequences. But when I hear that it's being written by the guy who did Fant Four Stick, which is one of the most egregiously written films that I've seen probably in my life, I get worried.
Um, yeah, that's a choice. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how I feel about that. Um,
I'm just looking
mm,
through. But then and then, and then my mind changes again when I look at the producers because I see Todd Garner's attached, and Todd Garner is of Paul Blart Mall Cop fame. So, how can this go wrong?
yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with it because they've got Johnny Cage in it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, how do
What
you
do you
feel
think of?
about Carl Urban
Yeah,
in
I was just about
that
to ask you. You
role?
beat me to it. Um, I think with the direction, it's an unusual casting for Johnny Cage. Um,
Yeah, I
but
wasn't like completely sold on it, and to be honest, I've not really seen much like about the film in general, so I'm not sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
me
how I'm gonna
neither.
feel on
Um,
it.
from the vibe I picked up from that one trailer that I've seen though, I think they're gonna take it a different angle, which I'm kind of interested in, to have him be a washed up sort of actor who finds new purpose in the Mortal Kombat tournament. Um, which I don't really have an issue with.
No, I think that should work well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, it's definitely different to other interpretations of the character, but it can definitely
Mm.
work. I'm just looking through the cast list now, and it's made me realize that the production designer, this makes me actually feel way better, was the production designer behind Kill Bill's Volume 1 and 2 and The Hateful Eight, which I actually really like. I like Kill Bill 2, I'm not huge on, but I think that's a good sign.
But yeah, I'm not. I don't want to say I'm not excited. Well, I'm just like I'm sure. I'm hoping that at worst it's just like very. It's watchable. Like I'm hoping it's just like solid
Well,
fun.
as I discussed with you outside of the podcast, when this was
Mm,
meant to come out last year, it was one of my
mm,
most anticipated films of the year.
mm.
Um, and then they pushed it back, which worried me quite a bit. Um,
Yeah, because I was
and
reading they finished filming it in 2024, I believe.
yeah,
Which is I was like, why I didn't look into it, but why has it taken it so long to come out?
so look, if it ends up being a terrible film, I'll honestly, so long as they cover the tournament,
I mean,
I'll
I hope
kind
it
of
is
be
just about
happy.
the tournament, really.
Yeah. Um, and if not, if it's more of a recruitment like sort of film, then I'll probably be really frustrated. Um, will I go see the third one when it comes out? Probably.
That's what I would like them to do.
Yeah,
Is I'd rather this is just the tournament arc. I'd rather
yeah,
just do that than try and just do the tournament because that's kind of what I want to see.
yeah.
Um, And also, I just remembered that I know someone. I had a class with someone who said he was like a stunt double on it in one of my uni classes.
Oh,
But because
awesome.
they'd started filming, but then there were the strikes in 20. This is 2023. This happened. So he was like he couldn't. They couldn't shoot or anything. So he was just waiting,
Yeah,
like just not being able to do anything because they didn't have. They weren't able to shoot because of the strikes and everything. So
yeah. Well, I briefly met someone at one of my screenings of um the uh Brisbane International Film Festival who worked on it to some capacity. I don't know what her role was. I think she may have been an assistant to someone. I will actually find out right now. Yeah, she was an AD. Sorry, not an AD. Additional crew. For Mortal Kombat 2.
mm,
Um, which wow, what a job that. I would have
mm,
loved that. Get me on set.
mm. Because they filmed it because they just keep making movies down at the fucking Gold Coast because
Look,
it
man,
is
I think that the film industry is going to keep growing in Australia, and I'm glad to hear it. but more up here in Brisbane, please. I'll do anything.
Yeah, please. Just film
So,
stuff in the city, please. It's
yeah,
it's
get
it's
me on
it's
set.
easy to get to. You
Yeah,
can use tons. Look, it's great cityscapes. We got a great looking city. Film
use
stuff
my
along the
house.
Brisbane River.
Film something in my house. I'll give up my living space.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll do anything. Please, give me a job.
But yeah. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode, Max.
Thank you for having me. I've had a great time talking about Mortal Kombat and
I'm
my
sure
egregious film takes.
you'll want to. If you're interested, you can obviously come back again in the future to talk about
Yeah,
other
I'm
films.
willing to talk about whatever, man. Always happy to come back.
Um, so yeah, I hope you have enjoyed listening. Uh, Listen back to there's like 200 plus episodes now, so there's gonna be something hopefully that you can enjoy. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.